Hi. Okay, so Cloud Atlas was a lot. I know we're only about halfway through. I'd be lying if I said I didn't really enjoy these novellas, even if they weren't connected through the multiple lives, reincarnations, however you want to address it. Just frankly, I didn't really get really into it. But as far as I will admit, despite my dislike, that Mitchell's use of language was quite impressive between each novella. I feel like his tone was very heady, so his language was very intellectually based, with different inferences and descriptions, and if you have in the first one with Adam Ewing, where it's this God-fearing Christian man who's going to try and find the will claimant for a guy in New Zealand, and he has what you think are hallucinations in a jungle. His doctor friend gives him parasite aid, and and his letters very much, or his journal very much reads like a diary would from anybody. It's a very visceral yet still proper. Like there's still that very time-like, it's very antiquated language, as you would expect from someone in that time. And then I won't even be able to pronounce the name, Zettelhem. With the composer, this was probably my favorite one. I didn't really love it, but I just liked it less than the other ones. So I feel like with the composer and being able to have these interactions with this great composer to write the music and everything like that, the fact that he was able to write these letters to somebody that you're not really sure what their relationship is with Sixsmith. With Sixsmith, you're not sure if they are lovers, if they were lovers, if it's a mentor-mentee thing. It's very intimate if that's the case. So you kind of address it in a different way, and his language is very to the point. He's very flowery in how he describes my favorite part of it was how he hears everything in music. I really enjoyed that. His character is, I'm sorry, I just couldn't get investment in his character, but the story itself was interesting, and yeah. So, and then you have the Louisa Ray mystery. I'll be blunt, I did not enjoy it. I found it very dull. Not that stories like this haven't happened. There are documented, recorded cases of reporters and other people trying to expose nuclear companies for trying to literally just poison the world and kill them with that, just so they can make money. That's not outside the realm of possibility. There have been documented cases of this. I just was not invested in this one. So you have her car going off the cliff. The language in that one, the language all of a sudden, some of it becomes very casual, and then some of it is still, to be blunt, pretentious. A lot of the language that Mitchell uses is incredibly elevated language, especially for how many different modular novellas he's doing. The elevated nature of the language for so much of it really threw me off, especially with Louisa's, because Louisa is this beat reporter who's trying to get off the gossip column at the Spy magazine, and so but his language did get his point across. And then you had Timothy Cavendish. That story broke my heart, and it was very weird. And a man who the publisher loses his business and publishes this big book because his client got thrown in jail for killing a reviewer, and then ends up being tricked into going into a nursing home which then throws into question the rest of the story. Was it all imagined? Did he actually get committed into a nursing home and this is all his imagination? Like, you're not really sure. But the language was so tart and so brutally blunt. He was hysterical and really kind of gross at points. And so very different tone of voice for sure. And then an Orison of Sonmi 451. That one I was angriest about not having the finished structure. I wanted more. I didn't like the interrogation, the questions back and forth. Of all the ones we had, I wanted that one in a narrative form because I wanted more. And so I guess that goes into the next question. I was really upset with how a lot of these ended. They just ended. And it ticked me off. And I... the transitions between novellas, the first one, the Journal of Adam Ewing, ending as he's getting this supposed cure from this doctor, going into a composer, musician who's on the run from debtors that he's trying to get out of paying. And then you have the Louisa Ray mystery meeting Sixsmith, and all these people are connected by a birthmark on their back. I'm not really sure how to characterize the transitions because without looking at the novel as a whole, it didn't make sense to me. And maybe that's the point. Maybe it was supposed to be abrupt and annoying and make you go, hey, this is not, yeah. Anyway, I don't think they function as cliffhangers because we're not going to see them again. We get little tidbits in future stories that kind of fill in some of the blanks, which I appreciated. Like we find out that Adam Ewing was in fact poisoned by this doctor guy who was just getting money off of him. You find out Louisa Ray wasn't even real. She was a book, a story written by another author. So that opens up entire worlds of possibilities there. And so I had more questions than answers every time a novella ended because it ended with so much left unanswered. I feel like Mitchell wanted to get this kind of reaction from people. In being, I'm only going to give you what I want to give you, which is his authorial right. He wrote the story, and people obviously love it. So yeah, I have been rambling, but I think Mitchell's use of language is incredible. I'm eager to finish the book. It's difficult for me to answer the second half of this prompt because I don't know. It's hard for me to get an overarching because of how they all ended. I want to know. So we shall see. The transitions were all very brutal, very some of them are cliffhangers, which you get an anticlimactic result from a lot of them. As it says in the prompt, it interrupts it. So I think because of the nature of the different worlds and the different dreams and the different kinds of characters' lives, you can be a future life of a character in a book. In the real world, I want to know what's going to happen next because I want to know if there is even anything that makes sense, because that's part of the nihilism that followed World War I and World War II, was this change from everything has meaning to nothing has meaning. So I'm wondering if that's the direction he's going, or if there are more than just the threads that tie these stories together. And the one quote, just to fill my quote there, which, let me see here. I really, and this is from an Orison of Sonmi 451. There were a lot of interesting quotes from her. but I feel like, here we go. When she goes back to the, essentially the McDonald's parallel, after she's been ascended and all of that, when she asks about if she's happy. So page 231, I asked, are you happy? Kylum 889. Enthusiasm lit her smile as she nodded. Happy is a word in the second catechism. Proviso, I obey the catechisms. Papa Song loves me. Proviso, Papa Song loves me. I am happy. A cruel compulsion brushed me. I asked the Kylum, didn't she want to live how pure bloods live? Sit at dinary tables instead of wiping them. There were so many parallels to Plato's Cave in Sonmi 451's novella, so I felt like that was good there. And I'm going to cut this off because I'm at 11 minutes, but yeah, so that was, these were a lot. These were a lot, so I'm hoping to get some sort of closure and some sort of connection in the following novellas, so we'll see.